Right, you finish the session on the trainer, hour and a half, structured workout, intervals hit, watts where they should be, everything executed to precision. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's this thought, what if that was worth 2 hours outside, maybe more? That's the efficiency argument. And it's not wrong exactly, but I've been thinking about what it misses. Let me make the case properly because it's real. On turbo, you're pedaling the entire time. No freewheeling down hills, no stopping for traffic, no 20-minute coffee stop that turns into 40, no waiting whilst your club mate has a puncture and also forgot his tyre plug and asked you for a spare tube because they forgot theirs. Again, outside, even on a focus ride, you're probably not pedaling for 15, maybe 20% of the time, coasting, stopped, soft pedaling through junction. A 2-hour ride outdoors might have around 20 minutes of effectively doing nothing. So coaches often say an hour inside equals 90 minutes on the road in terms of actual training stimulus, time under tension, minutes in zone. And that's about right. Not going to argue with it. Outside, your power is all over the place. The wind changes, terrain changes, a car pulls out on you and your interval is ruined. You're trying to do threshold efforts around Regent's Park and there's roadworks this week, temporary lights. And there's that one pedestrian that always seems to press the crossing button exactly when you're mid-interval. On the trainer, you set the number and it stays there. 5x5 at 350 means 5x5 at 350. No external interference. If you're time crunched, the trainer solves real problems. But here's something that confuses people. The same power feels harder indoors than outdoors, like noticeably harder. Research suggests 10 to 30% more power outdoors at the same perceived effort. Why? A few things. Outside, the wind cools you. Even on a still day, you're moving through the air at 25 to 30 kilometers an hour. That airflow is doing serious work, keeping your body temperature down. Indoors, you're static. Even with all the fans in the world, you are hotter, and heat increases that perceived exertion significantly. The bike moves outside, you shift your weight, rock side to side, stand up on climbs, adjust constantly. Indoors, you're pretty much locked in. Same position, same muscle recruitment, no relief. And there's the scenery as well, distraction. Time passes differently when you're moving through a landscape versus staring at a screen. I don't know if it's the same for you, but that's what it does for me. So when your indoor FTP is lower than your outdoor FTP, and for most people it is, that's not a weakness. That's honesty about how hard the effort actually is when you strip away everything that makes outdoor riding more tolerable. Worth knowing and worth adjusting your zones for. So here's the thing I keep coming back to. I'm going to upset some people here, but I don't mean to. Indoor training is training for cycling. It's not cycling. And I don't mean that in some purist gatekeeping way. Zwift is absolutely fine. Smart trainers are brilliant. They serve a purpose. But there's stuff that happens outside that doesn't happen on the trainer. And if you never do it, you won't develop it. Cornering, descending, riding in a bunch, reading the road, feeling the wind and adjusting, responding to other riders, the constant micro decisions about line and position and timing that you make without thinking when you're actually riding a bike in the world. None of that happens indoors. It doesn't matter how realistic the graphics are. You're not balancing, you're not steering, you're not responding to a road surface that changes or a wheel in front of you that might do something unexpected. The riders I see who train predominantly indoors over winter, the pattern is consistent. Big FTP, good numbers, and then you put them in a group ride and they're terrified. Can't hold a wheel, nervous when somebody gets close, twitchy, no idea where to position themselves. Fit and sketchy. It's dangerous, not just for them, but for the people around them. So then people ask whether Zwift racing counts as race practice. Sort of. You're learning to respond to surges, you're learning to pace an effort. That's a real skill, but you're not learning to read a peloton. You're not learning to move up through a group without burning matches. You're not learning when to follow a wheel through a corner and when to brake because that rider is sketchy. Zwift racing teaches you some things. It doesn't teach you the things that keep you upright when it matters. There's another thing about outdoor riding that sounds soft, but it isn't. It's more enjoyable. For most people, the air on your face, the scenery, the feeling of actually going somewhere rather than staying in the same spot whilst numbers change on the screen in front of you. This matters for motivation. Training you enjoy is training you'll do and you repeat. Training you hate is training you're going to skip. If not now, eventually. Or you'll do it, but resent it. You'll burn out and stop altogether. You see this happen. A rider gets really into structured training, does everything indoors because it is more efficient, gets fit, gets faster, gets completely sick of cycling because every session is a joyless sufferfest in their carriage. The efficiency argument misses this completely. An hour on the trainer might be worth 90 minutes outside in pure training stimulus, yes, but if the trainer makes you hate riding your bike, the maths doesn't work anymore. Sometimes the less efficient choice is the right choice if it keeps you in the game. So what's the balance? For most of the riders I coach, the ones that are juggling work, family, everything else, it shakes out something like this. Weekday sessions on the trainer, the intervals, the structured work, the stuff where precision matters and time is tight. An hour before work, 45 minutes at lunch, whatever fits. Weekend rides outside, longer, less structured, group ride if you want, skills, scenery, the reason you bought that bike in the first place. Efficiency during the week, and then IRL at the weekend. If you've got more time or, elite aspirations, serious racing goals, you could do intervals outside. Nobody says they have to be done indoors. Keep some control sessions inside, especially if you're doing a split day or the weather's against you, but there's nothing wrong with threshold efforts on an empty bit of road. That's how people train for decades. The trainer is a tool, it's not compulsory. And if weather forces you inside at the weekend, fine, but prioritize getting outside when you can. Right, erg mode. If you've got a smart trainer, you've seen it. Erg automatically adjusts resistance to hold you at a target power. If the workout says 200 watts, the trainer applies whatever resistance is needed to keep you there, regardless of cadence. Slow down, your resistance goes up. Speed up, the resistance drop. Locked on targets. For steady efforts, it's good, yeah. Threshold interval, sweet spot, tempo, zone 2, anything where you're holding a specific power for specific duration. Set the number, it holds you there. No drifting, no cheating, no accidentally going harder because you feel good or easier because you don't. And for easy rides, this is one that people miss. Erg stops you going too hard. Set a low wattage, try to push above it, resistance drops. If you struggle to keep easy days easy, erg might save your training. But there's a tension here. Erg proves your body can hit a number. It doesn't prove that your brain can make you hit that number, right? It's a completely different thing. In a race, on a long climb, there's no erg mode. Nobody adjusting resistance to keep you honest. Just you deciding to produce the power, finding it yourself, holding it when everything in you wants to back off. Erg takes that decision away. The machine handles it. You just turn the pedals and the power appears. And it doesn't let you back off when you need to. This is the thing that always wound me up about erg mode. You're mid-interval, something happens, you need to adjust your position, take a drink, maybe you lose focus for a second. In the real world, you'd ease off, sort yourself out, get back on it. Erg doesn't allow that. You ease off, the resistance spikes, suddenly you're fighting the trainer instead of just taking a breath. It forces you to push harder precisely when you wanted to take it easy. That's not how riding actually works. Outside, power is variable. You surge, you ease, you respond to the road. Erg flattens all that out. And a side note on this power data, that smooth line you see in erg mode, that's the trainer's reported power. It's not really what's happening at your legs. If you've got power pedals, as well as a smart trainer, compare the traces sometimes. Trainer will often just show a purely flat line. Pedals will show you something more variable, spikes, drops, the actual effort you're producing. The trainer smooths it all out, reports what it's trying to hold you at, not what you're actually doing. Some trainers are better than others, absolutely, but the perfect compliance you think you're seeing, it might be an illusion. Worth knowing and worth testing. So here's how I think about it. Yes, use erg mode for building the fitness, but turn it off for proving you can access it. Do some structured intervals in erg, hit the numbers, accumulate the work, but occasionally, maybe once a week, maybe in the last block before an event, do the same intervals without it, the same target, and you find it yourself. And it's a different skill. And sprints, keep erg mode off. Erg does not work for sprints. For sprint work, where it's pure neuromuscular effort, maximal effort, you want to produce as much power as possible. Erg will limit you. If you set it at 400 watts, it holds you there, even if you could produce 900. Turn it off for sprints and let yourself actually go. And I know I love talking about erg mode, but one more thing. The spiral of death, you know what it is. You're doing a hard interval, you start to fade, your cadence drop, erg increases resistance to maintain power. That's what it does, which makes it harder to turn the pedal. So you slow more, resistance goes up more, and suddenly you're grinding at 40 RPM against massive resistance and you have to stop. If you feel it starting, you've got two options. Push through it, force the cadence back up, break the spiral, or stop pedaling completely, let it reset and start again. Don't let it grind you into the ground. That's not productive. That's just suffering for no reason. I hate using erg mode for like VO2 type sessions. If I've got a 4-minute block, okay, I know it's going to be hard. If I get 3 minutes in, I want to just maybe ease off a little bit so I can know I can finish strong. I'm still in that anaerobic zone, still at that VO2 max power. If it's in erg mode, I ease off. I'm never getting it back. So I've just wasted half an effort that I could have perhaps got back into. So a quick word on making indoor feel less miserable. Some people swear by rocker plates, platforms that let the bike move side to side, tilt forward and back, closer to how a bike feels when you're actually riding. I'll be honest, I've not used one myself. I doubt I will, so I can't tell you if they're worth the money. Some riders will say it transforms the experience. Others will say it's just a bit of a gimmick. It's the same with the big screen setup, Zwift and projector, virtual worlds, trying to make the garage feel like the Alps. If it works for you, brilliant. But I'm not really into it. Personally, I just look at my Woohoo screen, just the numbers, no distractions, get the work done. And I know if some people were to try that, they're going mad. But whatever keeps you on the bike, that's the right answer. The goal is consistency. The method is up to you. So wrapping this all up, indoor training is a tool. It's a good one, absolutely. It solves real problems for people with limited time and complicated lives. But the efficiency argument is incomplete. Yes, an hour inside might equal 90 minutes outside in stimulus, but stimulus isn't the only thing that matters. Skills matter, enjoyment matters, actually wanting to keep riding a bike matters. Use the trainer for what it's good at. Structured work, precision, fitting sessions into gaps, but get outside when you can. Not because outdoor is magic, but because that's where you learn to actually ride a bike. And that's where you get to test your fitness against your friends. And because that's probably why you started doing this in the first place. Saddleupcycling.co.uk if you want to get in touch. Saddle up, cheers, and I'll see you on the Zwift roads. See ya.